On today's show, Ivica Zubac reveals a new part of his game that he's trying to focus on this season and add to his arsenal. Going to be talking about what it can open up and what it is on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 20 years, been covering the team on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for 5 and 3 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video on the road to 8,000 subscribers, and you can listen wherever you get your podcast. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Head on over or download FanDuel, or head on over to FanDuel.com or download it to place your first $5 bet. All right, Clipper Nation, we got a good, positive episode for you today. We will be doing more scandal stuff on Wednesday, but there was an article published by Tomer Azarly, who is a guy that we need to get on the show soon. I'll probably start coordinating that with Tomer very soon. We still need Tomer. We still need Farbad. We've gotten the others, so we need our whole beat to make the run around. We've had Miriam. We've had Joey. We've had Money Mona. We've had Adam, who's not necessarily a beat writer. We've had Lauren Rosen, Brian Seaman. Definitely need Jim Jackson and Mike Fratello. But anyway, going off topic. Ivica Zubac did an article with Tomer, or did an exclusive with Tomer, and he claimed that he's got a new part of his game he wants to add to his arsenal. I'm also going to be reacting to where Ivica Zubac placed on the Locked On Top 100 list, top 100 players in the NBA, and the key to Ivica Zubac's 2025-26 season being another step in the right direction. So Ivica Zubac said, everything I did, I want to do better. I want to be more efficient. I want to be more aggressive. I want to get more rebounds. I want to be better with offensive rebounding, like the putbacks. I want to be more efficient on that. I want to improve my free throws, but I've been working a lot on my mid-range shot this summer. So who knows? Let's stop right there. We've always seen glimpses, and we saw him like when he first got on that team, of Zoo hitting the mid-range shot, that he actually has decent touch. We even see sometimes clips at practice that Ivica Zubac is like shooting threes based on his touch, like with his push shot, with his jump hook, with his everything around the rim or in the paint. It wouldn't surprise me if he can knock down mid-range shots. I literally remember when we first got him, he hit some mid-ranges. But if he can consistently have one and get to it, that takes Ivica Zubac's ceiling from, maybe he'll make the All-Star team a couple times to he has superstar potential. Maybe superstar is aggressive, but perennial All-Star potential. Because he already has one of the best low-post games in the league. I would only put Joel Embiid and Jokic over him now that Zoo has a left-handed jump hook. When he could only turn over the left shoulder, he was a little bit limited. Teams, some of them, the smart ones, would hug his left shoulder, so he'd have to spin over the right shoulder, and his footwork, just spinning, not only his footwork, but his shot with his left hand wasn't very sharp. I think as of the 2023-24 season, he kind of added that to his arsenal, so now he can spin over either shoulder, but he doesn't really have a mid-range game. He has that push shot, but Zoo, outside of a low-post touch, he's not really a guy you can throw the ball to and say, go get me. You can say, go get me 16, maybe 20, but it's not a consistent 20. But I also think part of it is opportunity. If we played through Zoom more, especially throughout the course of the season, it wasn't until later in the season that we started going to him consistently. But if we went to him more from the beginning of the season, I think he probably would have averaged like 18. But if he has that mid-range game, not only does it open it up for his isolation game, but it can make him like a somewhat of a pick and pop big, that he can knock down that 12-footer, that 14-footer. He has that push shot down to a T. It is just like amazing how how much touch he has for a big on that floater, and he makes it so consistently, even from like the free throw line. But adding a midi to his game, I know he's saying it, but if he's allowed to shoot him, damn, we have a different ball game when it comes to Zoo. Because the greedy fan might say, I don't know if I should use the word greedy, but some might say the only thing he's missing now is a 3-point shot. But I just think that sometimes the 3-point shot can be a curse when you're so talented on the interior and then you stop going away from what you're great at. I think part of why Shaq is so great is because he didn't let defenses off the hook. He dominated in the low post and he was physical. Now, when it comes to like elite scorers all time, I was thinking about this and I've been thinking about this when it comes to Zoo. What star only had a low post game and like no face up game? And I couldn't think of one. And I feel like saying Shaq is kind of wrong for his, because he did have that, that rip through going to his right and sometimes would put up that jump hook. But Shaq is the one star that I can think of that largely is almost all back to basket. But he's got one of the best post games ever fundamentally. He's a freak athlete in which of the likes we've never seen before and have seen since. And he's just like a monster physically. Like you just like are getting put in the rim with like two defenders. Zoo is like great, but he's not like that. Even if I make the joke, if it's a Zoo Shaq, nah, he is not like Shaq. Shaq is just one of one. But you look at everybody else, even like the Al Jeffersons of the world, he had a little face-up game. Zoo doesn't really have that yet. So he said in the post, I saw a lot of double teams last year. So I want to be able to face up and see that double team. And if the guys back off, I want to be able to shoot that little mid-range shot. I want to be better with passing out of the double team, finding the right man, and just trying to improve in everything that I did last year and years before. I'm just trying to be better, more confident, and trying to be better at everything what I did. See, the thing is, I don't know if I can do the Zoo voice. It's like such an interesting thing where he like learned English from playing with NBA players, which I think is hilarious. Like he's one of the funniest European guys to hear speak, which I love hearing him speak, and his English has gotten so much better over the years. So that's not like I wasn't really trying to imitate Zoo, even though tried to say some of the words like him. But regardless, that's Zoo's insight right there, right? That is Zoo's insight. Facing up when defenders back off, because everybody knows he wants that post up. Right, he wants that post up. So if he catches, but I just don't want him to catch the ball too far away and go away from catching it right on the block. But there are going to be situations where they push him out a little bit further, right? Try your best not to get pushed out a little further, so you can beat it back to basket with on the block. But you get that ball 12 feet away, you can put it up. I mean, you look at all the greats that were dominant scorers. Like I'm not even going to compare him to like the GOATs, but we want him to be like ideally a better overall scorer than a Dwight Howard. He's not in terms of skill, which I already think he has more touch than Dwight Howard. But Dwight was such a freak athlete too, kind of like Shaq in that sense. But most of his points came back to basket. He had that little rip through to his right as well, but no, it was almost all back to basket with Dwight, and then lobs and putbacks. That's the stuff that Zoo's just not going to be able to do at that high a level. But it's funny though. He did talk about that. He said, I said I want to get more rebounds. I want to be better with the offensive rebounding. So the moral of the story is if Zoo starts pulling out that mid-range in preseason and starts hitting it, we're talking about probably 20 points per game. But there are elements and things that need to happen that I'll be talking about in the third segment about allowing him to show himself off and what the key to the season will be. But coming up, we're going to take a look at where Zoo placed in Locked On's top 100. I got to tell you a little something about Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401k, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. But that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. I, for months, was paying for the YMCA, and I was paying for Apple TV, and I didn't know about those payments. And then I went to Monarch Money, and did use the Locked On deal. And I've been seeing, and I saw what I was paying for, and I instantly removed what I wasn't using, and I've been saving money ever since. Monarch's built for people with busy lives. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's a 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So Ivica Zubac having a career year, finishing second finishing in the second team all defense, and was in the most improved player conversation. 17 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game. A career high in points, a career high in rebounds, a career high in assists, a career high in minutes played per game at 33, and a career high for most games played, period, with 80. If that doesn't say career year, I don't know what does. So let's see where the fine experts of Locked On NBA or Locked On NBA hosts have Ivica Zubac in their top 100, where we already saw that Bradley Beal was number 89. We thought that was too low, or at least I thought that was too low. But let's look at 71 through 80. Our good old friend Paul George is there, so we know that means that James Harden and Ivica Zubac are rated higher than Paul George, which should be the case. Paul George is ranked number 76. So already looking at this list, right? You've got Kristaps Porzingis, who's 75. I like that Ivica Zubac is ranked higher than Porzingis, because some might say Porzingis has been a star before. When he's on the court, he's just a unicorn. But Zoo is way more reliable. You got to go with Zoo. And another center on this list is Miles Turner, a guy that a lot of Clipper fans clamored for and everybody wants because he's a pick and pop big. He's at number 72, but there's no way that he's overall better than Ivica Zubac, because Ivica Zubac is more dominant with using his size. I think he's a better rim protector as well, although you can argue Miles Turner is pretty good at that. No, but he's not as good as Zoo, in my opinion. And I think Zoo's just a smarter player. Turner killed the Bucks, though, which is funny that he's on the Bucks now. But more importantly, he's just a better rebounder than Miles Turner. So happy that he got placed over them. Now we go to 61 to 70. And once again, Ivica Zubac doesn't come on the list. Doesn't show up on the list. We have Isaiah Hartenstein in there. Very good player, obviously a former Clipper. We all love the guy. Congratulations to Isaiah for winning that championship. But I think Zoo is definitely better than Isaiah. There's a reason why Isaiah was his backup. I know I'm setting this up. It's like suspenseful, but it's fun. There are some former stars on this list. DeMar DeRozan at 69, Zach LaVine at 66. Two very good players that, you could say are better than Zoo because they can score the ball at a level that he can't. But who would you have rather had on your team in 2025? I think if it's Zubac. It's very tough when you compare a center to like a guy like that. Like, it's kind of hard. You just got to go with who you would rather have on your team, I guess. You can't see. We haven't seen Ivica Zubac lead a team. DeMar DeRozan is asked to lead his teams. I think it's a different responsibility. But right now, who would you rather have on your team? Let's just say you have no one on your team. I would rather have Ivica Zubac right now. I think he does more on both ends of the floor for you. So I would go with Ivica Zubac. I think the Locked On host got it right there. Brandon Ingram, another one that falls into that category, a scorer, but he's just so injury prone. I think I would honestly have DeRozan over Ingram just based on availability, even though I like Ingram's game more. Same with Zach LaVine, even though he's had his injuries as well. Like Dyson Daniels over Brandon Ingram. I know he had a great year, but geez. So Ivica Zubac doesn't show up yet again. So Ivica Zubac is officially a top 60 player according to the Locked On Podcast Network. Let's see 51 through 60. Our good old friend Norman Powell is there at 16. We know Ivica Zubac is better than him. Austin Reeves from our friends over down the hall is number 58. So I love that Ivica Zubac is higher than who, the Lakers' third best player is. Jarrett Allen, another center on the list at 57. I think Zoo is better than him just because his post game is just better and he's smarter. Larry Markkinen. See, I don't know if Zoo's better than Larry Markkinen. I think he's just in a bad situation. I think Larry Markkinen's a freak. I probably would not have Zoo over Larry Markkinen. I can't lie. But he's a Clipper, so I'm happy that he's above him. Zoo over Damian Lillard at 54. He's going to be out for the year, though. But, I don't think he does more on both ends of the floor than Dame. That sounds insane. Is Zubac better than Dame? It sounds crazy to say. I don't know if I'm ready to say that. When healthy. And then you've got Draymond on this list. Honestly, I'll take Zoo right now over Draymond because you can get him the ball and get a bucket out of him. So I'll take him over Draymond. Joel Embiid, I mean, come on. That's kind of unfair to Embiid. He's better than Zoo. Let's be real. He's just injured. Well, see, maybe that's part of the equation. Would you rather have Embiid or Zoo because of the health? Honestly, I'm not mad at it, but he's not better than Embiid. And then number 51 is Rudy Gobert. I'll definitely take Zoo. He can actually make layups consistently and actually has a post game. So Zoo is in the top 50. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's a Zubac, the moral of the story of this segment, by the way, is Zoo is getting his respect. Zoo is getting his respect from Locked On hosts because they know ball, even though I don't agree that he's better than Dame or Joel Embiid, or Lauri Markkinen, but I would take him over everybody else that's been on the list so far. Although when healthy, I would take Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram's like a star. DeRozan and Zach LaVine, I don't know about that anymore. Maybe I'm just high on Ingram. I do really like his game. I think when he's healthy, he's pretty good. But I don't know. If Zoo has a mid-range, though, he's better than all these fools. All right, here we go. 41 to 50. Oh, over All-Star Tyler Hero. That's a take. I think he's, both ends of the floor. I think that matters. Tyler Hero is a shot creator, but he was a number one option on a team that made the play-in and eventually made the playoffs. So that's kind of harsh. I don't think Amen Thompson's better than Tyler Hero, though. Is this projecting? This is the top 100 players right now. I don't think Amen Thompson is better than Tyler Hero right now. I watched game 1 of the playoffs. He could not shoot. He could not shoot the ball. He was just lost and clogging up the spacing. He's an incredible athlete and amazing defender, but I would not take Amen Thompson over Tyler Hero right now. Even though I'm a defense guy, I think you can still control a game easier on offense. LaMelo Ball, number 48. Zion Williamson, 47. Desmond Bane, 46. Yeah, I don't think Desmond Bane is better than Zion and LaMelo, but the injury thing. OG Anunoby is 45. Aaron Gordon, boo, 44. Julius Randle, 43. So they got a Ivica Zubac over Julius Randle. I mean, Julius Randle performed really well in that first-round series against the Lakers last year. He was a beast. That was the best series of his career. And he's been an all-star in this league twice. So we'll take that. I like Zoo's game more than Julius Randle, but I don't know if he's better than Julius. Julius can get you, he dominated the Lakers in the playoffs, and he's been a star that's been 20 and 10 the last couple of years. But we'll take it. We will absolutely take it. And over Scotty Barnes? Scotty Barnes has been an all-star too. So here we go. Drum roll, please, and I think you know it's coming. And there you have it. Ivica Zubac ranked number 39 by Locked On NBA hosts. One place higher than Kyrie Irving. Okay. I don't want to sound like a hater because I'm literally a huge Zoo fan, but he's not better than Kyrie. I know Kyrie is the defense argument, but come on. We're talking about a second best player on a championship team. I know that was 9 years ago, going to be 10 years ago, but he was literally the second best player on a team that made the finals last season. It's Kyrie Irving. I love Zoo, but hell no. But we'll take it. We will absolutely take it. But then here's the disrespectful. Actually, no. Tyrese Maxey, I would take him over Zoo. I think that's totally fair. I'm not ready to say Maxey over Kyrie Irving yet, though. Derek White. See, I love Derek White. I think he's amazing at what he does, but he's not better than Kyrie. He's not better than Kyrie, and he's not better than Maxey either. Zoo or Derek White? I can't lie. I'm taking Zoo on that. I just think he's great at what he does, Derek White. He's so good. But Zoo, who's a better self-creator for himself? Derek White's obviously a better passer. I think Zoo, though, honestly, is more unstoppable, and you can use him as a pick and roll, rolling big. He's a big man. He's a rim protector. Although Derek White's such a good shot blocker for his size. But yeah, I'm taking Zoo over Derek White. I don't think Derek White should be higher than Maxey and Kyrie Irving. Şengün. I would probably take Şengün over Zoo. He's just super skilled offensively more than Zoo. His passing is really good. His defense is improved. But I wouldn't take Şengün over Kyrie Irving. Like, I'm not even like the biggest Kyrie Irving guy. Like, I watch the finals. I know his playoff failures are there's a lot of them, but it's Kyrie Irving. He's still nice. Like, he's still nice even in the playoffs. Then you have Franz Wagner, who's better than Zoo. Jamal Murray better than Zoo. Fox better than Zoo. Sabonis, I think he's a little bit high. He can't guard. He's a little bit high. He can't guard and he can't shoot. I don't know. I'm not big on Sabonis as Locked On hosts. He's getting too much love. I would not take Sabonis over Fox. I would not take Sabonis over. He's better in the regular season than Murray, but in the playoffs, I'm taking Murray. So I would take Murray over him. I would take Franz Wagner over Sabonis. I would take Şengün over Sabonis. I would take Maxey and Kyrie over Sabonis. So Bam Adebayo over Zoo, fine. Even though Bam got sunned last year when we went to Miami, sunned by Zoo. Bam didn't have that good of a year last year. I'm not feeling that pick. And then Chet over Zoo. Okay, fine. He won the championship. And then, yeah, we'll do a different episode on James Harden, but everybody else that's over him should be over him. And then you have Karl Anthony Towns. I'm just naming the centers. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, and of course Wemby and Jokic. So Jokic, the number one center, according to Locked On. Second best is Wemby, according to Locked On. Third is Anthony Davis, although, he wants to be a power forward, so let's take him off the list. Evan Mobley's power forward. Karl Anthony Towns, who would be third after Wemby and Jokic. And then you've got at number 4, Chet Holmgren. And then number 5, Bam. And then I guess Sabonis 6th. He's playing center. And then Şengün 7th. They have Zoo 8th. I just think that's nonsense. But whatever. Zoo's going to have to show them again. But I think he's overall getting more respect. If he's 39th in the league, we'll take that. But coming up, going to be talking about the key for Ivica Zubac next season and him being even better than last. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And right now, with the NFL odds, we've got Thursday Night Football this week. Seahawks at Cardinals. The Seahawks are -1.5. And then the Rams are playing against the Colts at SoFi. I will not be there because we have a tournament for club. Rams are -3.5. The undefeated Chargers are going to be at New York playing the Giants, and they're -6.5. So if you want to go bet on those teams, the LA teams, of course, you've also got the Niners, who are -3.5 at Levi's Stadium against the Jags. Go to FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right. So Ivica Zubac, more stuff from the piece with Tomer Azarli. He said last year was a lot of fun. Going into the season, I knew that I was going to be included in the offense more and that I'll play more. That's how I spent my whole summer, just kind of getting ready for that role and trying to make the most out of it. Once the season started, it was fun, man. A lot of people counted us out, and we had that chip on our shoulders. Jeff Van Gundy came in with his defensive identity. We brought on guys who are really good defensively, and it was just a joy playing every single night, being on the court for that many minutes, competing, and at the end, winning 50 games that no one even gave us close to 50. It was a really fun season. So you'd love to see how, happy Zoo is with last season, how much fun he had. I mean, how could you not have fun when you're having a career year? You know what I mean? And he talked about Brook Lopez, and he said, I was very excited when we signed him. Brook's an amazing player, and he's been in the league forever. He's one of the best defensive bigs in the last I don't know how many years. He won a championship. He's got that championship experience. Great guy, great locker room guy. Can't say enough good stuff about him. So I'm very excited that he's going to be joining us. So, Zoo is a consummate teammate. Everybody says that he is, whether they're organization members, fans, or players, everyone says the same thing about Zoo. He's just a great guy. Everyone loves this guy. So, I'm a big Zoo guy. There's a reason I have his jersey. I really hope he's my favorite player on the team. And that's just that's as simple as that. He's my favorite player on the team. And, I have my biases too, but I hope we can keep him for a very long time. Hopefully for the rest of his career. I did say last year we should trade him because I was like, we just need to get some assets. But whatever, we're gonna go down in the Kawhi ship, no matter where it takes us. And I like having Zoo on the team, and he's great. I was just saying because we had no assets, that he was our best asset by far. But I'm okay to ride the Zoo wagon. He talked about John Collins as well, and he said, I like him a lot. I always like to play with another big, a four-man more. That was maybe one thing that we missed the most last season, just having like a real power forward. Going against Denver, who was a little bigger than us, I think that was one of the things that we needed, and I'm really glad we got him. I think he's going to be huge for us. So great to hear that from Zoo, that he feels what we all see, that having an extra big body when sometimes he's going to have to, commit to the ball handler and pick and rolls in drop coverage, he has someone on that weak side baseline that's going to be able to take away any lobs by meeting them at the rim, or just, tagging that roll man so to prevent the lob and make them kick it out. And now we have scrambling with Kawhi and James Harden, who has good hands. It's going to make us, defensively a lot. It just gives us another element to our defense. I think Kawhi Leonard being in the passing lanes and the perimeter more and being in the gaps is a greater use of his amazing hands than him being the low man on the baseline protecting the rim when Zoo gets pulled out. It's a lot more jumping for him and taking contact from people trying to finish the rim. John Collins, this stage of his career, it's just the perfect fit for that, alongside Ivica Zubac. And then he talked about Norman Powell a bit. He said Norm was one of my best friends on the team. We talked a lot throughout this summer. We're going to miss him a lot. He was amazing for us last year. He was almost an all-star, had a great year, and we wouldn't be able to win 50 games without Norm. We wouldn't be able to get to the playoffs without Norm, so we're going to miss him a lot. I'm happy for him. He's going to have a great opportunity in Miami. UTG, man, understand the grind. He worked crazy every summer. I'm sure he's going to make the most out of his opportunity this year. I expect the same things like last year, maybe even more, and it's going to be tough playing against him. So, obviously, very complimentary of Norm, another guy that I only heard great things about from people within the organization, people that cover him, and his teammates. They all say great things about him, and the fans, of course. He was so good to the fans. Then last thing he said was, I think there was always a little extra when you play against Chris Paul. He's very competitive. He's got a super high IQ, and he's a legend of the game. Just to have him back with the Clippers, I think it's amazing, and I think he's going to bring a lot for us. He's a leader. He's been through everything. He's one of the best point guards ever, and I think he's going to be great for us. So, how much easier does that make Zoo's life when Harden's out of the game? He's got someone else that can dime him up. And finally, Zoo said, I feel great. I really like the moves that we made. I think the whole team is confident. This roster will look really good on paper. I'm just excited to get it going for October 1st to start and kind of see how it looks on the court, how it plays out. Like I said, I think we addressed all our weaknesses that we had, and I really like all the moves. It's all up to us now. And when he says us, obviously he's referring to the team, but I think part of the team and what's really going to make Ivica Zubac have a better year is simple. Trust from Ty Lue and the coaching staff. It comes down to that. Trust from Ty Lue and the coaching staff. Trust him to be a go-to guy from game one and not just in the first quarter. My only fear is you get Kawhi back for a full season. You have Bradley Beal. You have CP3. You have John Collins. Is this now so many guys and so many mouths to feed that Ivica Zubac probably still averages just 16 points, doesn't take a step up, and maybe he doesn't take a step up in terms of PPG, but if we're a better team than last year, then that's fine. If he's averaging 15 points a game but we win 56 games, we're okay with that. That doesn't necessarily mean he got worse, right? I don't think there's any scenario where he actually gets worse next year. His stats just might not look as good because we also have a backup for him. That also scares me a bit. Having a backup in Brook Lopez, that's very good. The main key is going to be Ty Lue. Are you going to let him take mid-ranges? Are you going to throw it to him where he can show off these new skills? Because he still needs to get better at passing out of the double teams. He got better at that last season. And obviously it's easier to navigate stuff when you're facing up and teams are doubling and loading up. But I think backing guys down is where you get more hard doubles. And I think those are not easier to pass out of actually, but it's longer distance for the defense to rotate usually to get out to the 3-point line. If you're doubling low in the post, you have to cover a lot of ground on that first pass, depending on where it goes. And obviously, they're going to try to make him throw the pass. You always want to try, when you're doubling, try to make somebody throw the pass, unless first to who you want. But secondly, if let's say everybody's a threat, make them throw the toughest pass, which is the skip pass across the court. And Zoo's started to get better at that. That's where, as the weak side guys, you need to cut. You need to make it easier for your post-up guys. And that's something that I think a lot of times in the modern NBA, they lack that because they're so spaced out. But sometimes they don't have the spontaneous cut when a guy's getting doubled and they expect their teammates to make these, cross-court long passes out on the perimeter. But, that's the next step as well for Zoo. He's got to be able to improve on these skills, and it comes down to Ty Lue and the coaching staff. Don't let the additions of these other guys make it so that we're not still looking at Zoo as what he truly is, which is the third best player on this team, not Bradley Beal. So it's a lot of ego managing. Zoo's not going to care, but we need to feed him. Point blank, simple as. So we'll see about that mid-range. We'll see in preseason. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA Sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell on the road to 8,000 subscribers. And, of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. The age-old proverb continues. Let me know what you think of my comment on Ivica Zubac. Go Clippers.